Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Wizorb. So we're on level 3 of what I believe is the final world. We've gotten the amulet ability. Everything should really just work fairly well for us. This will be an interesting experiment as far as just will the amulet ability go through shields? Yes, it will. So I have magnet ball, I have 3 balls. And we have a shop or key, something key related. We're somewhat struggling. So it's just a bonus area. Okay, that's fine. The 3 balls might make quite a mess of this. So notice the ball there is literally backwards, and yet it still flings it forwards. And that resets our 3 balls, which is nice, but with the current layout, it's not going to do much for me. The magnet is fairly useful in this game more than most Arkanoid clone games because of the fact that there's just a lot of power-ups flying towards you. Trying to get one of these balls to go over there on that side. There is a single brick. Just trying to keep my eyes peeled. Almost screwed that up. There we go. I really don't see a reason to play this for high score. I mean, it really would. I would just have to get much better at the game. I would have to have some pride in playing specific levels. And then at a certain point I would want level selection options so I could just replay the level over and over again, instead of having to potentially play 10 or 11 levels to get to the one level I actually care about. Oh, here is an interesting thought I hadn't thought of. First of all, use this. If I release all the balls, can I fireball them? I don't think I can. So if I wanted these to go through bricks, I probably have to die and lose the magnet ability. Which that's an interesting trade-off. Two behind the paddle. That time. And we lost both balls and we lost everything there. Oh well. We have enough gold if we can get to a store to get power-ups, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just don't see a store at all. That took 3 magical hit shots. Still good on lives, I guess. No. But yeah, you don't get your power-ups back. Let's see. Use the amulet here. And then bounce the ball there. Was a good start. The center is now open. Got 2 keys, so we can go see what's in these areas. It would be shocking if there really was anything special here. I mean, it basically has to be one is a shop and one is a bonus section. It would be too wasteful if there was something else special. I mean, it could be a secret level, but the secret levels make a lot more sense to be only the 4 based on the rooms that we've already done. Now here's the question. Can we use the amulet now that we're back? No. No such luck. Okay. We will expand the magic wand. And we will just take as many hearts as we can get. Like, it's better to just finish the game than try and save up for the crown, which we're not even seeing the crown as an option, except for it may be literally only in one shop in the whole game that you can purchase a crown. And at 10,000 gold, it's just too expensive. And even the how to play instructions say it's too expensive to actually purchase. And I certainly wouldn't like that in a standard like RPG game to have an item that is just way too expensive. But you do see that in RPG games. You see really expensive items that they don't really expect the player to purchase, and often those really expensive items are not worth the purchase. And we still see a little bit of that in games in general, just time waster things. There was all the little secret things you could find in Zelda Breath of the Wild, for instance, that came with absolutely no reward. And in that case, I think the game actually told you that you weren't going to get a reward if you found them all. So it really was just up to you whether what you wanted to waste your time. Alright, so if I use the amulet here, will that destroy? Yeah, that's not gonna work. It destroyed the enemy despite his deflecting ability. That's good to know. I missed all 4 of those, and I didn't realize that there were even 4 gems. I thought it literally was just the 2 in the middle. But I guess the 2 on the edges had already been matched. So I need to get an angle to get in, so we can do something like that. Let's not lose the ball. It may have been better to use the amulet on the edge, either the left or right. Because this is going to be difficult entry points over and over again. We could try to use some white magic to make the ball stay in a spot, but it would be tight. I'm not sure the wind would actually work. Meanwhile, it also might just be a better case for having these shielded things like break after a certain number of hits, even from the front, and just making it easier to destroy things from the back, but not impossible. Yeah, easier to destroy from the back, but still possible to destroy the shielded things from the front. Because, yeah, squeezing it between does look doable, but it doesn't look easy. We have 2 more things, and I guess if necessary I can fireball the last one. See if we can save on our magic though. We're at level 7 now, so it should be 5 more. Okay. So I'm gonna say using the amulet here is probably the right move. That does put us in a position where I needed to have hit that correctly. This whole design is just tiny little squares. It would be really nice if the tiny little squares were paying off. We were just getting a ton of gold coins, but it's not really happening. And if we can match, we've got enough keys to, we frankly have too many keys. Probably I'm just going to beat this level before I can get into whatever that area is. I assume it's just a shop. We've just got this set in such a way that I don't have to do anything. I literally could just put the controller down. There's just that slight risk, of course, of it actually bouncing back. Eventually, I guess it will clear the path enough that the ball will bounce back. There we go. A lot of levels are definitely designed like this, where you They are made that if you get in the back area, you will do really, really well. Okay. We'll just cheat. Alright. Replenish our magic. Enlarge our magic wand. And get another life. We can't use the amulet a second time. Trying to just get in on the edge here. Which the background kind of makes it hard to even see that is doable. The red edge there comes off like that would be part of the wall, and that the ball would just bounce off of that. Kind of stuck in the corner for a while. The ball pretty much bounces at a 90-degree angle always. It doesn't seem like there's any spin or English on it, or randomness around it. Right, so I really just need to hit these 2 bricks, and then I could shoot a fireball for that one purple brick that was in the middle there. Although that purple brick did probably highlight an issue with the purple background being not 100% convenient. It's easy to have the bricks blend in. Yeah, and I guess my only real concern here is that we would just hit something that would drain my lives very quickly, or that the final boss fight would just be really, really difficult. Missed it. So we're not going to get the hoarder bonus. Missed one thing. I'm going quiet now. I really have run out of things to say since so much of this is pretty similar. So I shouldn't have tried that with these guys in the way. When you teleport a ball in, it comes with vertical momentum. It doesn't have any horizontal momentum. It always shoots upward. So we just kind of need to get rid of these enemies first before I tried to use like a power ball. I could have tried to use the amulet. Generally, we just need to also avoid curses. Again, this feels like a level where they've strategically placed a lot of things to make the ball stay in the top half of the map in a lot of cases. It really gives the feeling that the game is trying its best to cheat in your favor, which I appreciate that in games when they tweak the odds and cheat. In this case, I don't think it's like magically moving the ball in a place it wouldn't naturally have landed. It seems like it's pretty fair with the physics, and it's absolutely being consistent. But undoubtedly the layout here of where they put the lanterns is very tested and thought through. It isn't coming from an attempt to make the game too difficult. I guess in a funny way, we probably aren't too far away from somebody trying to make arcade games that actually require microtransactions to continue. I don't think anybody would really ever agree to purchase and play a game like that, but there definitely has been some talk of concepts like that. I know one Japanese game developer wanted a game to be uncontinuable, and so you'd pay $60 for the game, and if you died you had to just buy another $60 copy of the game, which is just absolutely crazy. And I imagine it was just a thought that was thrown out there to the public when it really shouldn't have been thrown out to the public. But even if a game like this was free to play and it was only a penny to continue, I don't think most gamers would be willing to engage with something like that. Whereas that's exactly what this kind of game would have originally been designed around, is quarters to continue. Okay. Or not this game, Arkanoid would have been designed around that idea. But also that's why you don't see too many arcades, and most arcades that have continue to exist, or really it's not continued to exist as much as new arcades have sprung up. Most arcades though are in free play modes, with perhaps exceptions of like brand new arcade and pinball machines actually taking quarters, and that happened actually fairly early in, I'd say, second or third generation of our arcade games. You started to see like kids restaurants and places having arcades that had free play games from previous generations, previous arcade games turned into free play. And now it's almost exclusively that. There's still a few arcades around, I'm sure, they actually do take quarters or tokens, but just paying to enter an arcade, paying like $10 to enter an arcade and play all day is the only offer that really makes any sense for a lot of arcades, because inherently after that first generation of arcades and arcade machines, arcades really stopped being like majorly full of people, majorly populated. They just weren't the hangout spots that they once were. There was a lot of pushback from parents to tell their kids not to be in arcades at all and never go in an arcade, which I'm sure hurt it. And yeah, I think probably Mortal Kombat 1 would have been right at the peak of where arcades were very popular, and you would see lots of kids in an arcade. And then after the video game violence whole nonsense around Mortal Kombat 1, that's when parents started to pull kids out of arcades more, and eventually arcades became places that were mostly empty most of the time. And a lot of times arcades were mostly empty anyways, because kids can only be in a mall during certain hours. Malls in general started to implement rules that kids could not be unaccompanied unless at certain hours or at all. But yeah, after school, before school, that's about it. Yeah, or on the weekends. So between, say, 8 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon on a school day, arcades would be open, but it would basically be empty. Just your occasional adult who would play there, or maybe a sick kid that claimed to be sick that went to the arcade. The occasional kid skipping school, but definitely not enough people to justify even running the arcade machines to make money, to pay for the electricity. I think it's pretty obvious too. I've run out of things to say about this game. And Arkanoid in particular, I think, is probably more of a game that would have been more of the style of a bar top arcade machine. Something that people wasting time in the bar, adults wasting time buying alcohol and cocktails, probably just beers, really. And in that case, you have a whole different monetization concept. If you're in a bar and you have a bar top arcade machine, you're just trying to keep the patron of a bar in the bar as long as possible to sell them that third or fourth beer or cocktail at a high markup. Also, you're trying to potentially keep them around so that they sober up a little bit and that they aren't just driving drunk home, because that's no good for a bar if you lose a patron because he died driving drunk, nor is it good if all of a sudden there's a news story that you let somebody drive drunk home, or somebody drove drunk home from your bar, and that you were not a responsible barkeep. Okay, we've got plenty of money, so there's no reason not to just buy everything. This is going to be a hassle, I can tell. I'm gonna have to get the balls to really just stay in this area. Just take it nice and slow, I guess. There's one ball down. We're on level 11, so pretty much done. We'll, I guess, go a little bit long today in the episode. like one more brick. Question is, how can we get that one more brick? I guess the question is, when the ball lands here, you have like half a second to potentially press like the B button and turn it into a fairy ball. That would be my desire. Oh, that's not gonna do anything. Alright, we got it. We have 17 lives. We're about to hit level 12. There might actually be a level 12 before the boss battle. We're at full magic. We have 200 gold and 2 keys. We'll go ahead and just use the amulet here. Do that. Immediately down to one ball. We've got matching gem colors that we're going to have to deal with. Or maybe we don't actually have to deal with it. Maybe we can simply just move forward from that. Wasting too much time on the gems. I think I could probably just try to bounce the ball around it all. Or maybe that's just too difficult. Well, we've got two sides matched. Guess the question is if we can just do that. Okay. Now I don't want to use any magic right now though. And honestly, I'm not sure I can actually hit anything, even if I was using magic. Almost lost the ball there. Then I would have lost all my power-ups, which I'd like to take all these power-ups with me to the final boss fight. We'd be in a very good position if that works. There we go. So we should just be in a great position. 18 lives. Probably bought at least 8 too many. Full magic. We have a Demon King character. Let's just hit him and see what happens here. Well, he just destroyed my thing. So much for that. My fireballs can only do so much damage. and when he hits me, it curses me, which is probably better than just straight up dying. Let's ask this. Apparently the amulet didn't activate fast enough before he killed me. So I might just be at the exact right number of lives here. He has just taken a lot out of me already. So is this guy gonna spawn more enemies? I think that's the way this has gotta go. Is that we've gotta kill the minions so that we can get magic, so that we can then fire on him. Because it doesn't seem like the ball actually does any damage. Which that feels a little bit annoying. It feels like you should be able to at least occasionally hit him with the ball. Although they've made this kind of easy fight. Otherwise, yes, you can die, but you can also just take it a little bit easier than you would think. Of course, it would be really, really nice if we had regenerating mana that would appear in a much more reasonable amount of time. Having to bounce the ball at so many times to get 10%, which is basically nothing. It's just kind of ridiculous. It probably should be a case that you get some mana back every 2 or 3 bounces. See, that hit him so many times that should have given him some damage, at least one hit. So I'm gonna have to kill these last 2 minions. Have enough magic. There's really, really highlights where being able to upgrade your magic really is necessary if you're going to have these appearances of the game really having RPG elements. There aren't really RPG elements in this game. Oh, his curse also sucks magic out of you, so it's not only you have to kill the minions, you have to kill the minions and fire fireballs fairly quickly. Well, I definitely thought I was being overly cautious by buying so many hearts and lives, but feels wrong now. We're down to 10 lives. There's no way to speed up or slow down the ball, so I don't see a way you would do this any faster. It's just a fairly long boss battle. Now, we've gone long in this episode, so my hope here is that we don't find that this actually is just the most second to last level. But that really wouldn't be that too big of a deal either. Darn it. He got me with his curse again. We made no progress at all there. You gotta really dodge these curses. That's hard with this trident attack. It really feels like everything in Wizorb was at least seen by the creators of Death's Hangover. And they didn't really do anything that different. Death's Hangover is kind of interesting in that you can slow down and speed up the ball. It does put a interesting twist on an Arkanoid game, but there's just a lack of polish in that game that doesn't account for. The level designs are much better in this. The experience overall is just much better. And this is a doable boss battle, despite it taking forever and requiring now 10 lives. There, I just dumped into the guy, so if we can get just one more fireball. I definitely do hate the fact that I can't bounce the ball even a little at him. It'd be fine if he just had a deflecting swipe, and so the ball always got bounced back from the front, but he's not being damaged from the back or from the sides either. There we go. Nice animation there. In fact, we get pretty good animations when each enemy is defeated. So achievement unlocked Kingdom Savior, but notice that the achievement is in black and white. I wonder if it would be in color if we beat it on a harder difficulty. So that's World 5 done. Are we going to get a World 6? Man, this looks just like directly from a Zelda game. Although, how many different ways can you make a palace chamber? Anyways, this is different animation. Even though Owain was possessed by the Devil King, by the strength of his own will, he was able to keep Taro from being cursed. In the end, this small town was the key to salvation for Gorudo. However, victory wouldn't have been possible without Cyrus the Great Wizard. So, how many people worked on this game? We see 2 names so far. I imagine we're going to see 4 or 5 names. Yeah, Gorudo is also just like a Zelda reference. Yep. So I guess I could imagine a Wizorb 2 being made, but I also could imagine Wizorb 1 just didn't sell that well either, because it's an Arkanoid clone in particular. Overall, I do think this is a good enough game. It would be nice if it unlocks a level editor, or in some way encourages me to play more. But I doubt I really would be encouraged to play more. Did the wizard just turn into the staff? There? Yeah, let's just see what we have here. So yeah, we could perhaps check my score. Yeah, not very high in World 1, not very high in World 2, not very high in World 3, although higher. Kind of high in World 4, and kind of high in World 5. Which I imagine that probably highlights that a lot of people stopped playing. That you probably lost about half of your audience after World 3. Which I could figure that out pretty easily. And yeah. Even one more gold coin would have put me in parallel with a lot of other people. Yeah, there is nothing here though. We can check out Taro Village and see if that does anything, but oh, so I could have bought a rampart from this guy at any time. That might have been helpful. But it doesn't seem like you can really do anything else. So I see that there's like 10 achievements that are missing. Let's see what those are. And yes, I could go back and I could use the amulet to get 10,000 gold, but yeah, I just don't think that there's enough reason to keep playing. I am satisfied with this experience for the most part, other than the fact that there were some points where it was a little bit short, a little bit laggy. So there's a slime masher, kill 5 slimes without hitting the orb with the magic wand. That's an achievement I didn't get. Fragile, bounce the orb 50 times with the magic wand without breaking anything. Only 3% of players have gotten that. No bubble wrap. Complete a bonus level without bursting any bubbles. Only 3% of players have done that. Pretty much, I guess, 3% of players went for all the achievements. Complete a level after the magic wand was destroyed. Only 2% of players have done that. Earn a star for every world, which that's Cyrus Superstar. My precious is earn a star in no, my precious is buy the jewel crown. Only 1% of players have done that. Well, the ruin, defeat the Devil King before rebuilding anything. Only 1% of players have done that. And so I just have to make a whole new game to accomplish that. Charmed, have all 5 charms active simultaneously. 1% of players, 1.7% of players have done that. Hardcore, complete the game on hard difficulty. And then there is a filthy rich achievement that says earn 50,000 gold points. So, yeah. Beating the game on hard difficulty in particular is just not something I would ever want to do. We can look briefly here and just see what hard difficulty would look like. Just so we have a general idea. So you're starting with 2 lives in hard difficulty, and I wouldn't be surprised if the ball just bounces a lot faster. In general, yeah. It definitely does feel to me like this is already bouncing a lot faster. And this is the gates level that you can't ever do again. I guess. Beating the game without rebuilding anything means you wouldn't be able to use the shop at all. And that would be a nightmare, certainly. I already used all my magic, so I can't fireball immediately. And there's one life. We should really just lose our next life and the one after that. Let's do that. Just let it die. And then let that die. And see how many continues you have. 3 continues. And so yeah, hard difficulty, the ball moves faster, and you have less lives. Let's die again. That way we can see what would happen if we run out of continues completely. Because that is good to know. Yeah, I don't think there's any other Arkanoid games that I even know of on Steam, or Arkanoid variants or clones. So I probably will never play another Arkanoid game. The one Arkanoid game maybe I would play and cover would just be Arkanoid, and frankly I'd probably only spend about 5 minutes on it. The original Arkanoid game is probably best just with a MAME emulator setup. So then the continue costs money, and so you lose GP at that point. And so we started with 300 gold points. And I guess at that point you just retry the world. And I would assume you get your continues back. And you got your gold points back. Unfortunately, it really is a case where most old arcade games or old games in general are just not really worth trying to cover on YouTube. You'd have to you can't buy the games. Well, you can buy a lot of them nowadays on Steam, but there's just nothing really to say about them. Everything I've said about Arkanoid in covering Wizorb and Death's Hangover before this is exactly the same things I would say about Arkanoid. You just see me play very poorly on Arkanoid. I could see, though, taking this a little bit further, making it half RPG, half Arkanoid game, and maybe you could stretch it out. It is a little surprising that there's only 5 worlds. It definitely feels like there would have been room for a 6th world, but I can also see that they had run out of ideas, mostly, by the time they had gotten there. All of the power-ups in this game are fine as far as charms, but you don't get them fast enough. There's probably too many curses, but you don't run into them too much, so it's not that big of a deal. There's no 2-player game option here of any sort. You can't play Pong, you can't have 2 players controlling 2 paddles, which that might be nice if you were going to make a sequel. The story definitely could be a little bit more in depth, but yeah, keeping it light since it is a fairly light game works pretty well. So overall, I'd give this game a thumbs up with performance issues and potential crashing. I didn't see any crashing myself, but I saw a lot of people discussing it. Of course, that could have been years ago that it crashed and it's been updated since then, or it could just be a case of modern computers can handle it. but the stuttering I did definitely notice, and that is unacceptable. This definitely feels like the kind of game that could get a resurgence now that the Steam Deck does exist. Killing a few minutes playing Wizorb on the Steam Deck seems like the ideal application for a game like this. Anyways, that's going to be it for this series. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you go to my YouTube page, there's a playlist tab that has a playlist for every game I've ever covered. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.